Shalom, Yasharallah. This your brother Dawada, coming back at you with this here truth again. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rakakwadash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that taught us this truth and that rule well. And salutation and much love for you, Akim, pushing this truth and sincerity over the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. So I want to jump into this here article real quick. It says most Russian exports have now kicked reliance on the U.S. dollar as payment currency. All right, in which, this is one of the reasons that what they call the American dollar, the world reserve currency. All right, because just like how with the petrodollar, all right, this has the how do I say, the most valued, and it's comparably to other currencies. So what people would do is they would trade with this here, the American dollar, and the same likewise if America is to quote unquote, if you were supposed to buy something from them, they want you to use the American money, but in return they don't want the American money back. They want your products instead. So like, let's say for instance, just like with oil, if these people want to whatever country, Germany wants to buy oil, right? They need to borrow and get American dollars, right, to be able to purchase that oil. But then in order to pay America back, they don't want the money back that they, let's say it was $100 million. They don't want $100 million in American money back. They want $100 million in products, more or less to say. But let's read how this here article goes. It says the share of Russian exports, again, what they have to send to America, settled in the U.S. dollars have dropped below 50%. The decline recorded in the fourth quarter of 2020 reflects Moscow's policy of cutting the Russian economy reliance on the greenback. All right. See, there, you also have like what they have the BRICS nations where they're trying to get off the petrodollar and, also trade in other currencies that's backed by their own money. A significant portion of the unprecedented drop in the use of the U.S. currency was recorded in trade with China, according to the data revealed by the Russian Central Bank on Monday. So, looking at this is between Russia and China. But again, they need the American dollar to be able to do these things. This is how America, being a consumer nation, all right, get all these products from all these other countries because they need the American dollar to be able to conduct these transactions. And America don't want to be paid back in the American dollar, so they just get the exports exported to them. All right. It says more than 3/4 of the trade turnovers between the countries are now transacted in the euro. The euro share in Russia's total exports jumped more than 10 percentage points to 36%, the data show. In recent years, Russia and China have decreased dollar transactions in trade in favor of settlements in national currencies. And see, normally what America would do is if you wanted to do this, all right, because they get to tax you all the way around. Like I said, they're getting, if Russia and China want to create trade, they're going to need the American dollar. And again, whichever countries need the American dollar to conduct this here trade, they have to wind up sending America products. All right. And this is how you have all these cheap products over here in America, man. All right. It says, in recent years, Russia and China have decreased the dollar transaction in trade in favor of settlements in national currencies. In January, the Russian embassy in China reported that Moscow and Beijing have managed to ramp up the shares of settlements in national currencies to 25% over the previous 9 months compared to a modest 2% recorded in 2014. Russia also significantly cut its holding of U.S. debt in recent years and invested in gold and the euro. And, normally when these other countries start doing these things, America winds up going and invading their country. You can go look at Muammar Gaddafi in Syria, all right, was trying to create what they called a golden dinar so that he could sell his oil. And also they had a natural spring water that they found out there. He was going to try to sell all of that basically in shares of his own, currency that he created, a so-called African currency. All right. Same with what's the boy's name was Saddam Hussein decided he wanted to start selling his oil on, I believe it was the British pound. All right. And they wound up going over there and invading his country. It says, according to the data published by the U.S. Treasury in March, Russia owns just $6.145 billion worth of U.S. government securities. At the same time, the share of Russian international reserve held in the U.S. have plummeted to less than 10% from 30% in 2014 after Washington began imposing sanctions on Moscow. And this is also giving rise to these, how do I say, quote unquote cryptocurrencies, that these national or nation-backed cryptocurrencies, because see, they're trying to get away from using this American dollar. So look, they're like, all right, well, we'll just conduct it. We'll create our own cryptocurrency that America can't touch, and we'll just conduct trades with that. We'll cut the middleman out from taxing us, man. All right. But ultimately, it's going to lead to, World War III, man. All right. Multiple rounds of it. Because you got to think, if everybody stops using this American dollar and everything like that, right? None of these countries would have to sell their exports to America for, pennies on the dollar, man. All right, they wouldn't have to do all these things. They could just start selling for a higher price somewhere else. America wouldn't get any more imports, and then guess what would happen, man? This place would crumble overnight, man. All the goods that come in and day out, the majority of goods around the world is sold here in America, man. All right. Multiple rounds of economic penalties that followed along with threats of more sanctions have forced Russia to seek ways to protect its economic by decreasing the role of the greenback in its economy. So like I said, all it's doing, well, we can start there actually. All it's doing is actually forcing these other countries to basically cut America off. Let me see if I can find this real quick. Job 18:7. The steps of his strength shall be straightened. His own counsel shall cast him down. So going into his own counsel, all right, oh, well, we're going to impose sanctions on Russia or these other countries. And, if y'all want to buy oil, y'all got to buy it from the American allies. And if you try to buy it from Russia, we're going to put sanctions on y'all. Well, what is this forcing these other countries to do? Buy cheaper oil or a cheaper quality of oil from America at a more expensive price and wind up going bankrupt in the long term? Or start getting the Russian oil and everything like that from them for, a cheaper price, but a better quality. All right. And then just taking sides with Russia, man. All right. So this is why you're starting to see, a lot of American allies are pretty much upset about like the Nord Stream 2 pipeline. They wound up putting sanctions on their own allies if they was to buy that oil from Russia. All right. But at the same time, America's also buying oil from Russia. All right. Why do they have to do that? Because his own counsel says the steps of his strength shall be straightened. His own counsel shall cast him down. Well, America's got sanctions on Venezuela, so Venezuela can't sell their oil to nobody. But America used to get their oil from Venezuela, and instead of just, putting sanctions on themselves and everything like that, they just go and get oil from Russia. You see what I'm saying? This is just, he's thrown into the state of confusion right now, man. He's just discombobulated on all sides, man. All right? For he is cast into a net by his own feet and walketh upon a snare. The gin shall take him by the heel, and the robber shall prevail against him. The snare is laid for him in the ground, and the trap is set for him in the way. All right? Because ultimately, like we were just reading in that article, this is forcing these other nations to create their own quote-unquote cryptocurrencies and cut America out, the so-called middleman out, the tax man out, causing them to, so for instance, for Jake, right, Jake get caught up in these systems over here in Babylon to where they have to pay a crazy amount of child support or a crazy amount of taxes. So what Jake do is like, you know what, I'm not finna be over here working for y'all to sit here and tax 90% of my income, with whether it be child support, taxes, or whatever else deductibles y'all got going on. I'm going to just not go get me a legal job, and I'm going to just hustle on the side, and then y'all ain't going to tax it no more. All right? So this is just less money that's being paid into the tax system because of what? America's forcing people to do these types of things. But this is on a larger scale with these international, these other world leaders, more or less to say. All right? But ultimately, what America winds up doing is like, oh, look, if I can't have a part of it, then nobody going to have a part of it. We're going to go into war, man. All right. And that's one thing that America always did to go to war, was whenever you see somebody try to change up their currency or dealing with currencies and things like that, where it will put America out of the position of being at the top. When they start talking about protect national security. All right. Really, national security isn't protecting the borders of America or anything like that, but it's to ensure that America maintains the position as the top over all these other nations. All right. And if you can cut them out from being the top of these other nations, like by using the American dollar for trade and oil and all these things, then what? America's going to lose their power, man. All right. Because every time anybody else make a transaction between anybody else, America getting paid off of that, man. All right. Verse 11, terror shall make him afraid on every side and shall drive him to his feet. Because like I said, ultimately, once they get to a point like this, the only way to end all these things is what? All out war. But he's about to start noticing that his allies ain't going to be there by his side, man. And everybody's going to wake up and say, is this the man that made the earth to tremble, that did weakest the nations? Now they're like, look, bro, we're not going to come to your aid, bro. Actually, you the bad guy on a whole, on the face of the earth, man. All right. Verse 11 again, terror shall make him afraid on every side and shall drive him to his feet. His strength shall be hunger bitten, and destruction shall be ready at his side. It shall devour the strength of his skin. Even the firstborn of death shall devour his strength. His confidence shall be rooted out of his tabernacle, and it shall bring him to the king of terrors. Because ultimately it's going to put him into a position of war, but he's not going to have the upper hand on the battlefield. All right. This is Ecclesiastes chapter 12. I'm going to start at verse 1. It says, Remember now thy Creator in the days of thy youth, while the evil days come not, nor the years draw nigh, when thou shalt say, I have no pleasure in them. While the sun or the light or the moon or the stars be not darkened, or the clouds return after the rain, and the days when the keepers of the house will tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves, and the and going into that, these are the people that the top economic people, in America and everything like that, the people that know about certain things and what will happen if you do this and you do that at a larger scale, because the majority of Americans, they don't know what the hell a sanction is. They don't know, like oh, Russia's the bad guy, well, let's just do this and that. Like, well, that's actually screwing y'all over. They always put in the news with the propaganda about how bad China is and so on and so forth, but they don't realize that they get all their goods, their cheap goods, from China, man. All right, for instance, they paying what, $1,000 for an iPhone, which that's pretty much expensive for a cell phone. But you got to think about it. They only paying them over there like pennies on a dollar to make that damn phone, man. All right, just imagine you Americans over here want $15 minimum wage. You know what I'm saying? Now you want a minimum wage jobs like working at the gas station or some shit. How much more when you working in a factory? All right, because most factories will start you out at like $15, depending on where you live, start you out at like $15 to $18 already. So in order for you to make this here iPhone, all right, most Americans going to want a quote unquote decent income. So what they're going to be like, oh, we want $22, $24, $25 an hour to make these iPhones. Well, you do realize they're making these iPhones for like $2 or $3 an hour over there in China, right? So if you are now getting these iPhones produced for $23 an hour, this $1,000 cell phone is probably now like $10,000 for this damn phone, man. So these are the traps, is setting for your own self. But these top economic people here, like what's the guy's name? Charles Schwab, or what's his name? Or Peter Schiff, these types of people, right? They understand what's really going on with a lot of these different things and what sanctions and these different deals are doing to these other nations, which is only really harming America at the end all be all, man. All right, just like putting the sanctions on Venezuela so they can't buy the oil over there. All right, and they got your allies from doing all that. Like, well, they're gonna just buy it from Russia. That means America ain't gonna benefit at all from none of these things, man. All right, which is gonna, why you think they got to keep stimulating the economy right about now, man? All right, because there ain't no money coming in right now. A lot more people are getting rid of using that American dollar for their trade, man. Meaning that America is starting to have to pay for their actual imports that they're importing, man. All right, which means things are starting to go up. All right, the inflation. All right, so it says, in the days when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease because they are few, and those that look out of the windows be darkened. Now, a while back, they had already got rid of all these warehouse jobs and things like that, and they sent them overseas. This is why Donald Trump was running, this is one of his campaign things. Oh, we're going to put America first. We're going to bring the jobs back and everything. How you going to bring jobs back if they weren't first sent out? All right, and this is how you started getting cheap everything here in America, man. And most Americans don't know about these things. That's why we was reading about the strong men shall bow themselves, because they understand what the hell going on. But every average, everyday American, they don't understand these things, man. They be like, yeah, bring the jobs back, bring the jobs back, bring the jobs back. Yeah, but you used to having cheap products. So what are you going to do? Bring the jobs back? Now everything's more expensive. Yeah, you making $30 an hour, $40 an hour, but you're going to need a goddamn income of $100 an hour to be able to afford anything, man. All right. It says, and the grinders cease because they are few, and they that look out the windows be darkened, and the doors be shut in the street when the sound of grinding is low. And he shall rise up at the voice of the bird, and all the daughters of music shall be brought low. All right. And you have a lot of these people now are being dependent off of this either government stimulus checks or government aid in some type of form or fashion. All right, you have the big issue right now is a lot more people don't want to return back to work because they're making more money up off the government than their little petty ass paying job that they could get, right? But then at the same time, well, if they making more money off the government, who the hell you think is, obviously they're printing the money, but who do you think is gonna have to pay all that shit back, man? Taxes is gonna go up even higher than that, man. All right, because like for instance, you're already paying like 30 to 40% of your damn taxes. They trying to raise capital gain taxes and everything. You got your girl Janet Yellen talking about, look, we got to do something about these cryptocurrencies. We're going to try to impose an 80% tax on your cryptocurrency gains. So let's just say you make let's say $100,000 on cryptocurrencies or something like that, right? Well, you got to pay 80% in taxes on that. Who the fuck want to make $100,000 and have to pay $80,000 in taxes, only bring home $20,000 after making $100,000, man? That would destroy the incentive for people working, man. So see, America's caught in their own snare, their own trap, man. All this is doing is just bringing them to the king of terrors, man. Like your economy's done, man. America's through, man. All right. We're gonna close out with this in 2nd Ezra 16. Start at verse 17. Woe is me, who will deliver me in those days? The beginning of sorrows and great mourning, the beginning of famine and great death. All right, the beginning of wars, and the power shall stand in fear, and the beginning of evils. What shall I do when these evils shall come? All right, and this is the time that we're living in. You know, if you could think back to like, you know, the 90s at least, 95 and shit like that, man. You know, most Americans, not really even talking about just Jake, but even Jake at that point in time, you know, most Americans had factory jobs. They only had to, like, the husband only had to work. The wife could sit at home and do whatever she wanted to do. They had a 2-story house, white picket fence, 2-car garage, 2 cars, go on vacation, having more and more children and everything like that. And just the husband was working, man. All right, but now you need the husband to work, the wife to work, the kids to go get a job, and they need these stimulus checks and things like that for people to, you know, just to make to make ends meet, man. All right, why do you think you live in an economy now where, you know, people with a full-time job is driving Uber and Lyft and DoorDash and shit like that to make up on and make ends meet, man? All right, but hey, these are the times that we're starting to live in right now, man. Verse 19, behold, famine and plagues and tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for an amendment. But for all these things, they should not turn from their wickedness, nor always be mindful of the scourges. So, and that's the point that we in right now. You know, you got these people that don't realize that they ain't got no money right now because they ain't got no damn jobs. But then they saying, that, look, well, we can go work at the gas station, but we need a minimum wage of like $15 an hour. Like, well, you ain't gonna be able to afford nothing in the goddamn gas. If I gotta pay somebody to work in the gas station $15 an hour, this is like a $7, $8 an hour job. In order for me to be able to pay the overhead, pay the bills, pay the insurance and everything else like that, this $1 candy bar is gonna now have to be $7 for a goddamn candy bar, man. $10 for a soda inside the store, man. All right, so hey, but hey, these people, they don't realize these things, but they want to keep pushing and pushing and pushing for these things. Oh, well, yeah, we need another stimulus check. We need another stimulus check. Well, that's just causing your taxes to go up even higher, man. All right, so it's not like it's free money, man. PPE loans and everything. Somebody got to pay all these things back. Then when you're wondering why your dollar can't buy you the things that it used to be able to buy you, all right, then you'll understand at the point in time all this free money that you was asking for. It's just like when you get a credit card. We'll give you a $5,000 credit limit. People, ooh, I got $5,000 I can spend. Yeah, but you don't realize that you got interest of like 10, let's just say 10% or whatever, whatnot. So you spend $500, right? What is that? $50 that you got to put on top of that. So it's not like if you had a debit card and you got $500 to spend, it's just $500. Now you got an extra $50 on top of that, man. And then that's just gonna start adding up more and more. Let you miss a payment or whatever, whatnot. This anybody that's ever got fucked over in the credit card, they'll understand. I'm like, how the hell was my bill? You know, I only had a credit limit of $100, but I've been paying off this here $100 for like the past 3 years at $25 a month, and I still ain't paid off. That should only been 4 payments. Yeah, but interest is high as hell, man. It costs you money to borrow that money, man. You didn't realize that, man. All right. Verse 21, behold, victuals shall be so good cheap upon the earth that they shall think themselves in a good case. Right? And that's the point where we at right now, where you have a lot of these people that sitting at home doing the PPE loan scams. Oh, shit, we got a 10-pack. We got some good money coming in. Oh, we got a stimulus check. We got money coming in and everything like that. And, you know, all these people think that they're in a good case and everything like that, but they don't realize that things around them is getting more and more and more and more expensive, man. All right, so look, ultimately, you're just in your own trap, man. All right, this, again, it's like somebody just keep giving you credit cards and credit cards and credit cards and credit cards. By the time you get your damn bill coming in, you're going to realize, like, bro, I cannot afford all of this shit, man. All right, I can make the minimum payment of $25, but, you know, I got 5 different credit cards with a $100 limit on there, and my minimum payment is $25. Yeah, that no problem. I can spend $500 right now and only got to pay $25 on the backside. But yeah, bro, you're going to actually be paying way more money than what the hell is the whole, you know, money that you even brought out for, man. All right. It says, behold, victuals shall be so good cheap upon the earth that they shall think themselves in good case. Even then shall evils grow upon the earth, sword, famine, and great confusion. All right, and like I said, the sword comes out when, you know, you get into an economic problem where they can't borrow no more money, man. All right, you know, I forgot, was that Goodfellas? We can't borrow another dollar. You light a match, you burn a joint. You know, you start, you know, you have to fight your way up out of these things, man. All right, when America can't print no more money, can't borrow no more money, they didn't overtax the people, they just go to war, man. They can't pay back their debts, they just go and invade your country, man. All right. It says, then shall evils grow upon the earth, the sword, war, famine, price of everything going up, people can't afford nothing, and great confusion. People trying to figure out how the hell am I getting all these stimulus checks and all this here money, and the government giving me all this here money. I ain't never got this kind of money a day in my life before, but I'm making more money off the government sitting at home than I was in my regular job. But I can't afford nothing. How the hell is that possible? Before my regular petty-ass job, I could still afford to pay my bills and this and that and so on and so forth. But they don't realize, yeah, they give you free money, but the price of everything else is going up around you, man. All right? And with these other nations that's ditching the dollar over here, man, that's even boosting that up even faster, man. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and close out with that. Lord willing, this here lesson was edifying unto the elect. Until next time, I say, call halal Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shai, Bahashim Rakah Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of great millstone that taught us his truth and never will. And salutation and much love for you, Aki, and pushing his truth and sincerity over the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. Till next time, I say, stay strong. Shalom.